I did pretty good. I did pretty good for a new person because the one thing I did know, I knew how to brand, and I didn't like sales, but I knew how to create relationships. And I realized early on that that's what moved me forward in real estate. And what I realized even then was that you had to be able to pivot, and you had to be able to create that brand that was going to give you that longevity, through the industry and through that whole market. You don't succeed unless you can give value to the client. And if you can't bring value, then you don't have a brand, basically. So your brand is your value. And what does that look like? You got to dig deep to try to figure out what that is. And then once I know what that brand statement is or that brand message is, then I can start to shape what it looks like, what my delivery is. It could be a big process. And the more you invest in it, the more that brand is tied to you personally, and you have that longevity, and that's success, really.
You're listening to the number one real estate podcast in the world. We talk with real estate professionals all across North America, but their wins, losses, lessons, stories help you win in your local market today. My name is Cody from Sheridan Street. I'm joined with Vikram Deol of the Real Estate Sales Academy. Vikram he hasn't moved. He's been in the same spot. For those that don't know, we record episodes on Friday, and we go back to back, bringing you the top agents from around the world, tried to help you win in your market today. Vikram, what do you have to say today?
Cody, I think I'm going to come to your house and give you a hug right now. You are struggling today. Cody's energy is definitely not normal, and that is really interesting. Yeah, you need a hug, bro. You need some physical touch. You need 11 hugs every day to fill your love bucket, honey.
Hey, come fill my love bucket, brother.
That sounds aggressive. I hope they edit that out. Anyways, no, dude, we've had some really great guests, and I love jamming with all of them because they're all things that we are doing every day in our own businesses. And it's crazy. I'm sitting here in between our podcasts, and we've done 4 today. I keep telling you, we should just bang them out Saturday, one Saturday a week.
Nah.
12.
Nope.
I know you don't listen. But
work Saturdays. There's this thing called doing business in the context of constraints. And Saturday is my day I don't work on Saturdays, bro.
Okay, fine. Let's do them on Sunday then. I don't care.
No, I don't work on Sundays either.
I think we'd be a lot more effective. And stop bantering with me. You're fired.
What I'm really
fired about, go home. It
says una excusa. What does that say? Ask Solomon in the background. Una excusa para sonreír.
Let me see. Oh, there's sonreír. There's never. I think it's there's always an excuse to smile.
Yeah. So smile today.
Work on your Spanish, bro.
Hey, I'm my Spanish is not great. It's very muy malo.
Yeah. You know what? In the Real Estate Sales Dojo, if you guys aren't following me in the Real Estate Sales Dojo, go there. We do call reviews. Basically you get free coaching from me on how to sell more real estate. And I don't know if I'm an authority or an expert or anything, but I've sold $250 million of real estate. I've trained a couple hundred people on how to do it. So I don't know what that makes me, but go to the Real Estate Sales Dojo because I just asked for wins today, and our boy Mike, who was on, I think episode number 77, we're on 246 now. He always posts something, and he always has a great win. He's like, cash offer closed. Oh, ridiculous.
We're talking about Michael Ouellette, right?
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he always shares his wins, and he keeps having more of them. And it's gratitude brings latitude. So you guys what's
dude is crushing it.
Yeah, I'd love to hear what everybody's wins are in the chats on whatever channel you're listening to. Also, if you guys are listening to us on a podcast channel, give us a review if you guys are getting great content, because this is this last 3 weeks, I was telling my girl, I'm like, oh God, I know the content's going to be great, but it's so much work, and I have so many other things that we're working on right now. And she's like, but every time you say that, you love the episode. So I'm no pressure, Kim, but a lot of pressure.
We have a very special guest today, Kim Offord, with us today. And I think we originally got connected through, who did we get connected through?
Marky. Rao.
We went deep with Marky on AI, and I'm pumped because today we're going to focus on branding, which is not really something I don't think we've ever had an episode focused on branding and the importance. We talked about YouTube, we've talked about agent referrals, talked about lead gen, but we haven't really gone into depth about what brand means. And then before we go into that, give us a high level overview on how you got into real estate and how you're now applying what you're doing around branding in order to create referrals for real estate businesses.
Yeah. So first of all, thanks for having me. But I started out, I was a marketing major at Northwestern. So I did branding and all of that. And I thought I was going to be this brand manager at an advertising agency. Got there, realized I didn't like corporate America, didn't like any of it. I didn't like standing by the cooler, drinking coffee and gossiping. I didn't like none of that. And so eventually I did get into real estate, had a friend who was, a realtor and doing great. And I wanted to get into it. So I did. I became a realtor and I did pretty good. I did pretty good for a new person because the one thing I did know, I knew how to brand and I didn't like sales, but I knew how to create relationships. And I realized early on that that's what moved me forward in real estate. And so when I came in 2007, that was probably not the best time to come into real estate. Because we were going through the foreclosures and everything else. And what I realized even then was that you had to be able to pivot and you had to be able to create that brand that was going to give you that longevity, through the industry and through that whole market. And that's where I am now. It led me all the way up to now, still, thriving and doing great.
Can we define what branding means to you? Because I think that a lot of people have a different perspective on what brand means, especially in the day of the personal brand.
Yeah.
It looks very different today than what branding today even looks different than what I considered branding when I started my agency 6 years ago. We were doing a lot more graphic design and brand colors and what does good branding look like to you and how and why is it so important?
So I always say, this is my little catchphrase, branding is more than just a color, right? And everyone seems to think, if I get a great pen with my name on it, I've branded myself, or I get, my t-shirt and I've branded myself but there's a process. There's a process that leads to that. And for me, branding is really, it's that key phrase, your unique value proposition. You don't succeed unless you can give value to the client. And if you can't bring value, then you don't have a brand, basically. So your brand is your value. It's your value proposition. And what does that look like? You got to dig deep to try to figure out what that is. Some people think that, well, it's my niche. It's whether you say niche or niche, whichever one. It could be, but is that really your brand? And then sometimes we try to stick a niche with a brand that doesn't work. But you have to go through and really evaluate what your brand is. And for me, that process starts every year of trying to figure out, okay, what's my mission? I do a personal mission and a vision statement for myself as a realtor. And I take that, those are my core values. So I take that and combine it with my market, what I see the shifts are, what the changes are, what my value is. And that's how I come up with my brand. And then once I know what that brand statement is or that brand message is, then I can start to shape what it looks like, what my delivery is. So it could be a big process. And the more you invest in it, the more that brand is tied to you personally, and you have that longevity, and that's success, really.
I think that a lot of people, when they think about brand and they think about they think a logo, or they think color, and they might even think unique selling proposition. Not many people do, but some people think about unique selling proposition and other people don't. But when we're looking at brand and we're looking at the because there's obviously the brand and then there's the assets that are attached to the brand, like the videos you produce, the images, the logos, the campaigns, if you will. Like how does one person I guess why even create a brand? Let's start there. Like why, and like, what does brand, in your opinion, look like in 2023? Like, what does an effective brand look like?
Okay. So the reason why you want to create a brand, you hear people say this all the time. People have to know, like, and trust you in order to, in the real estate world. I can be any agent can sell the house across the street from me, right? Technically. If I move my license to a different brokerage, that's the other thing too. If I move to a different brokerage, people are going to come to me, not because I'm with that particular brokerage, but because they believe in me. They believe in my brand, right? They know, like, and they trust me. And so that, again, it all comes back down to me to value, and then there was something, what was the second part of your question real quick?
Just how one built a brand, like why should they and how do they?
Right. Okay. So again, you're digging deep in terms of what is your value? What do you bring to, to the experience first of all, okay. So let's talk about with real estate in particular. People are not going to refer you or even patronize you if they don't understand or don't know what you bring to the table. Again, I keep saying value, and I sound like a broken record.
Yeah, can I jump in here and like?
Sure, go ahead.
Because let me see if we can break it down a little bit simpler for people. What's your current brand for this year? So what is your value in a crazy high interest, high price point market?
So for me, I concentrate in Chicago, and I work with my sellers, and I bring my knowledge with a particular market in the Chicago area, the South Side market, in terms of what investors can get out of that market. And I have built my knowledge base so much around that particular market that it sets me aside from that agent who may just say, hey, I can help you sell a house, or I can help you invest, or I can help you do whatever. Now, the other piece to this is this. I am now moving in more towards the educating realtors on how to build their brand. And so for me, it's
two brands.
It's twofold, for me. So on that end, my brand more so looks like, okay, I am knowledgeable in brand building. I have experience of being a realtor for over 16 years.
And you're one of the only realtors that have been through a good and a bad, a boom and a bust. So you bring a lot of different knowledge to that because you've been through 2008 personally.
And not to mention, I've been a managing broker. So I understand where agents fail and where they succeed.
So go ahead. Sorry.
Where they fail is they fail to build a brand image for themselves.
Okay.
That sets them apart from any other agent.
So I want to do a quick exercise, Cody, if you're down with it. I'd like to do a quick exercise with you, Kim. Mm-hmm. One is I want to break down a few things. So if you guys don't have a pen and paper and you're not driving or on a bicycle going somewhere cool, because I think that would just be awesome. I think you guys, like, brand for me is like cycling and health. People know that about me. They know that if you talk to Vikram, he's going to probably bring up health and he's going to bring up a bicycle. Where, like, if you were talking to Cody, right? Cody comes to you. He's a, 5-year agent.
Yep.
He's having some success, but he's like, all right, we're doing some online stuff. We've done some of this. We've done some of that. We've done a little bit of this. Like, what would be 3 questions that you would ask Cody that he needs to answer so that you could help him build a brand?
Well, first of all, I'm going to ask Cody, what's his why? Why are you even here? Why are you in the business? What is it?
If they say something ridiculous, like, I'm obviously here because I want to make more money. I don't like my corporate job, right? Like, it's such a vague answer. So how do you help him dissect that deeper? Because I think that's where the value comes.
Yeah. If he comes to me and he says, hey, I'm just here because I want to make money, then we're going to understand, okay, well, why do you want to make money?
There we go.
There's got to be a reason why you want to make the money. There's always a reason. There's always something. And so
he says, I want to give my family a better life because, you know, the way that I grew up, we didn't grow up poor, but we didn't grow up rich. And I see that there's no glass ceiling here. So I want to give my family opportunities I didn't have. Let's say that's Cody's answer.
Okay. So if that's Cody's answer, now that we know Cody's why, now we're going to try to understand, okay, Cody, what's working for you right now in your business? Let's do a brand audit. Let's audit your business from top to bottom. And let's find some common values and some common factors in what we find out as we audit your brand or audit who you are right now. And what can we do to further enhance that, articulate that to your target market, or even let's do some shifts, because maybe this market over here is more in line with, you know, who you are, your value proposition and what it is that you're bringing to the table. It's okay to want to be a realtor because you want to make money. You know, it is okay. But because I mean, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't want to make money.
But we're not doing this podcast because we just like to talk to people all day long. Like we're building it to build our brand as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Cody, you were getting ready to say something. What were you going to say?
I'm just curious how much you think brand is created through repetition, because like once you have a solid brand and you want to put your name out there, like how much of repetition of like, you know, I even think about like really famous ads from back in the day. Like there's a ad out there that's Buckley's, you know, it tastes awful, but it works. It's like they had that campaign and like that brand became iconic through repetition, that they found the right hook. They found the right brand message that allowed them to, you know, it was one of the most iconic brand messages. Like, do you think that corporate brand concepts around repetition or around colors, around vision, mission, values, do you think that plays into brand in the real estate space? Like what do you think we could take from corporate to apply to our real estate brands? And what do you think we should not do?
So one of the things that all the brands that you mentioned, and we can think of a lot more, are touch points. They know how to hit you in every particular place that you're going to be in all the right times to hit you when you're making a decision or you're staying top of mind, or they're top of mind with you. So repetition is definitely, it is key. And I teach that all the time, is that you have to have multiple touch points. What I mean by that is maybe you're doing social media, maybe you're doing Facebook, right? Okay, well, now maybe your audience is not necessarily on a TikTok or what have you. Maybe you're working with seniors and maybe those seniors aren't on Facebook or on TikTok or wherever. Maybe you're sending them a postcard, or maybe you're following that up with a phone call, or it's that repetition to me in the real estate world is top of mind. And you have to do it in multiple ways. Touch points and top of mind in multiple ways, multiple settings, with the same message, and it works. It works. And that is definitely a lesson that we can take from corporate America. I do it all the time. I make sure that I am hitting people in different ways, so that when they need a realtor, I'm the realtor that they think of when they need a realtor.
Nick and I were having this conversation yesterday about messaging, about like half the battle in any marketing, any branding, because branding and marketing go hand in hand, but people they mistake the direct response marketing for the branding, because they don't with direct response marketing, generally you can experience immediate conversation, but then sales takes over. It's like you have to become a really good salesperson, where if you have a very big brand, you don't have to be as good at sales because your brand has done the selling for you, or your marketing has done the selling for you. I guess what is, I guess, some of your ethos around referrals, and like, how does the brand produce referrals? Because for the most part, a lot of agents, I think personally, hide behind I'm a referral agent, but they're not doing anything to actually cultivate referrals. What is
also
brand and referrals? What was that?
They're also not doing a whole lot of business because they're waiting for somebody to reach out versus being proactive and doing it.
Yeah. So what does like proactive branding look like to you?
So, okay. So you're absolutely right in that you can't just sit around. You just sit around waiting for someone to refer you or what have you. For me, proactive is, again, creating those opportunities where those who are interested in what you're offering are going to actually come to you, or you're going to go to them, right? And so one of the ways that I try to create opportunities for people to come to me are through the lead magnets, social media, offering incentives and things of value, like, hey, here's what's going on with investors. Here's a list, a checklist that you might want to have. So they're coming to me. In them coming to me after I've gotten those leads coming in, I'm reaching out and saying, hey, here's some opportunities that I heard about. Are you interested in this? And I'm speaking about, investors in particular. Here's some opportunities that I've heard about. You reached out to me about something. Now here, let me reach back to you. So it is a relationship that you do have to nurture. You do have to continue. You can't just take, come, hey, get on my mailing list, give them something of value and let them know that you understand what it is that, they need or would like, or you're that person,
So how is the brand, how do you think the branding is creating the referrals? Is it the repetition of the messaging? Is it
it's both. It's both. It's both, because here's the thing. I just did a webinar on how to get referrals from clients and complete strangers. And one of the ways that I offer in doing that, definitely the first way, is through your branding and making sure that your message is clear so that people at least know who it is you are, what it is that you offer.
Can we talk about that? Because Cody, this is exactly what Cody and I were talking about yesterday. He's like, bro, if you're trying to tell an agent that's doing one deal that you can get them to 4, he's like, I've seen you do it, but like, that's such a stretch that they can't think and feel it and imagine it. He's like, tell them you get them from 1 to 2. He's like, that's believable. So, and it's funny because he posted that on his Instagram in his own private page, marketing. What's it called, Cody?
Mindset Marketing and Business Secrets group.
Yeah, on Facebook. He posted it and there's like 7 people, and I've been posting in his group for 60 days nonstop, 3-4 times a week. Crickets. I was like, Cody, I think everybody in your group is dead. Kill it. Start over. It's not generating me any business. He made one post and there was 6 people that took it. Messaging is so crystal clear, but it's also so, like, Alex Hormozy on Saturday, and Sharon broke this down for us in a free call on Wednesday. Alex Hormozy spends a ton of time just on his titles. He tests it. He tests again. And then once he gets a good response after, 3 or 4, and it's not like Alex Hormozy came up with it, but, like, the best people are talking about their messaging. How does somebody like me, who's dumber than, like, I'm dumb as rocks, how do we come up with our message? Because I had to have Cody figure it out for me after like 6 months of banging my head into a brick wall.
So I really want to hear what Kim has to say, and then I want to hop in here, because I think that so many agents struggle with their messaging, and so many agents are like, I can help you buy and sell real estate. So I literally messaged
Cody in the background. I'm like, bro, I don't even know where to go with branding, because like I'm just lost. I'm like, take over, help out. I'm lost on this one. Like, so I would love to hear some more, because I'm taking notes.
So what I've been doing as of lately, I've been using AI. I have been using AI to help me develop my message even more. Even though I know what my message is, I always could use some more help, because it's going to get stale. or, I'm going to get a new audience or more people in my audience who I need to fine tune my message. I prompt AI I tell it what my message was. I tell it what the responses were. I tell it if I got good responses, this is my target market. How can I refine this message? We talked about Marky a little bit earlier. She has me down the rabbit hole of AI as well.
Yeah, she's a smart cookie.
And it works. It works. It really does. It really does work. And so what I do is I switch it up. Let's talk about on social media. I don't just sit on social media all day saying, I'm a realtor, buy real estate from me. Please buy real estate from me. I'm a realtor. I don't
just sold, just listed, sold. The same shit that everybody does. You don't do that?
Right. I do that every now and then, but I mix it up. And for instance, I find other things that I like, right? Because social media is social, and again, I get back to that no, like, and trust. I try to concentrate on the like a lot. So I may be out doing a showing or something. I'm not about to have my camera out and say, okay, I'm showing this house. Here's the living room. Here's the dining room. I don't do that kind of stuff. On the other hand, I'll show you the quirky stuff. I'll show you, I'll be doggone. I'm walking down here and there are 10 different lock boxes. Which one am I going? Come on, y'all. I'll do stuff like that. And what it does, it just reminds everybody that I'm a realtor, right? Yeah. I'm concentrating on the funny stuff. I'm an art collector as well. So I may be somewhere and I may see a piece of art and I may say, you know what? Hey, here's this great piece of art. And I'm also reinforcing the fact that I'm a realtor. But along the way, I do kind of pepper in, the message, the official brand message. But it's so important that you actually, if social media is going to be your platform, that you're actually social, and that it goes a long way in really shaping your brand as well.
One of the things that I think I've learned along the way, and I love what you say there about just sharing different nuggets of what you're doing in life. I think me and my team were having this conversation the other day because our views on our Instagram videos are down massively. And I'm like, one of the biggest mistakes that I think that we get away from as agents, as content creators, as business owners, is we forget to storytell. And I think that all effective marketing and branding is created through our ability to tell stories about who we are, what we do, why we do it. Like everything you said about branding, and branding has always fascinated me. And I've really over the last week come back to this realization that I'm like, in the beginning, I was telling stories about, how I started my entrepreneurship journey through reselling my Halloween candy back to the neighbors that I went to the night before. It's like that storytelling humanizes the brand. It humanizes your ability to, and Vikram has done this so brilliantly over the last couple of years around telling stories about his divorce, or telling stories about him biking, or telling stories about us coming to, Medellin, Colombia, and living here. It's like people, when they can humanize the brand, specifically in the brand, it's all storytelling, and it's our ability. You think about even corporate America, you think about Apple commercials, when I think about branding and I think about Apple as a company, what they do so brilliantly is they storytell through their commercials. And that's how they're able to bring people into the brand. You think of Steve Jobs as a person, he brought people into the brand through storytelling about what was actually possible. And anyone listening to this podcast back, something I would encourage you if you're a real estate agent is storytelling, I think, is so effectively done through copywriting because it allows your brain to think about things differently, like the Gary Halberts of the world, the David Ogilvy's. He wrote a book called, Eugene Schwartz wrote a book called Breakthrough Advertising that I tell everyone about. There's just so many different ways for us to effectively storytell. How do you think, and wrapping up here, how do you think agents can effectively storytell so that they're not consistently saying, buy this house, sell this house?
Just sold.
Just listed, just sold. What do you feel like is effective branding and effective storytelling in a 2023 environment?
So I'm glad you brought that up. I have an agent that I'm mentoring right now. And I asked her, I said, okay, what's your why? What are you doing? What's going on here? And she, oh, I don't know anybody. I don't know what my brand is. I don't know. It was a lot of, I don't know. When I started digging deeper and I said, do you own a house? She said, yes. I said, what did that mean to you? Well, I was a single mom and it meant the world to me that I could give my children some place to live and I could decorate the way that I wanted and I could do this and I could do that. And I just sat there and I listened and I said, do you realize that is your story? That is the story that you need to tell people. That's your inspiration. And that's how you're going to inspire someone else. Can you imagine the difference of just having, oh, I'm with such and such realty on my Facebook page, all up and down my page or my Instagram, as opposed to a reel or a video of me saying, you know, hey, let me tell you this story. Let me tell you about when I was living in an apartment and I wanted to buy a house and I was a single mom and look at, you know, here's my kids are just playing, you know, tell a story to grab people and pull them in, because actually that was our target market. She wanted new homeowners. She wanted first-time buyers. And I said, now, how many of those do you think are those decision makers are single moms or moms, period? You know, so that made the difference in just that one person. We all have a story to tell, you know, even if it's, I just want to make money. That's your story. Tell it. you know, that is so significant.
Real quick, why are people, right? Like, why do we live in this bubble where and we got to wrap up because I got a hard stop, but this is probably not the best question to ask at the last second. Cody's like, I think we got to wrap up, but real quick, why are people, in your opinion, scared to share their story? But to scare their audience? Like, why are we scared to be vulnerable?
We're scared to be vulnerable. We're scared that we're going to be put out there. I made a mistake just recently, and I was really scared to say I made a mistake, y'all, on social media. And that ended up being, I did it anyway. And that ended up being the most liked post that I had on social media because it was real, it was relatable, and people were saying, gosh, thank you for sharing that. You know, I believe in your brand even more because you were vulnerable enough. You're human. You know, people. It's
like if you go to Yelp and you see if you go to Yelp and you have 600,000 and they're all 5 stars, you're like, this is fake. But if you go to Yelp and you got a couple of 3s and 4s and 4.8s, you're like, all right, yeah, I can jam with this restaurant.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, I just want to say thank you more than anything for just sharing so openly around branding and what you're doing and what's working. And just like for us to really unpack the idea of storytelling, because I think that when agents can really understand that social media was not created as a means to social media was not created as a means to market. It was created as a means to socially network. It gives us it affords us the ability to tell our story. So if somebody were to want to reach out to you, they want to have a conversation, maybe they want to learn a little bit more about what you do and the exercises you walk them through in order to brand, where can we send them to have a conversation with you?
They can follow me on Instagram, my name at Kimberly Offord, or they can come to my website. It's called thereferralstore.com.
Well, you heard it here. Branding, storytelling, go tell your story, reach more people, treat social media like it was meant to be treated, as a means to socially network, not as a marketing tool, and you'll thrive. I want to say thank you for tuning into another episode of the RE Agent Podcast. We'll see you soon.